time for us to tell you what's in the newspapers. Our court correspondents and my co-reviewer is here, Joseph Akablay. You were caught yesterday.
I sense a lot of mischief. I mean,
how is that?
From Monday to now, I don't remember you introducing me as court correspondent.
Oh, maybe it's because of a headline that I only saw yesterday in the evening.
That's fine.
And then it has a lot to do with you because you have a lot of experience when it comes to the court's work. You're very familiar. So I wanted to bounce it off you.
That's
so now that you want us to start from this, can we kindly see the front page of the Chronicle? This is yesterday's paper. It's not today. This is the president of the Ghana Bar Association saying that stop exposing your boobs in courts. I have not had the benefit of the full story.
Okay, so I found a story online.
You found the story.
Yeah, on the chronicle.com.gh.
Okay.
Yeah,
what was the GBA president?
According to him, the legal profession remains one of the most conservative concerning work at he's quoted as saying that, in other words, flashy isn't allowed. The profession has a fairly universal attitude regarding what is considered appropriate and what is not. He indicated that for court work, business casual is never appropriate, even during legal vacation. Mr. Forson explained that the court attire for male lawyers should always consist of a dark-colored suit, a tie, and a properly buttoned shirt, while female lawyers should always wear a dark suit with trousers or knee-length matching shirts. He's quoted as saying, "Bare legs are never accepted in court, neither are open-toed shoes. Anything flashy such as large, gaudy earrings or sandals are also inappropriate. Whether in court or at the office, lawyers should refrain from showing much skin. Bare arms are generally frowned upon in the office and never appropriate in court. Hair and makeup should be conservative. Last, shirts or blouses should always be buttoned so that the cleavage is never revealed."
Okay. So this is what I wanted to ask you as court correspondent. Do you see some of the things that Mr. Forson was referring to in there? You see boobs?
Okay, that's the question you're actually asking, whether I see boobs. No, I do not see boobs.
Do you see cleavage?
I'm not too sure, but I mean, the one I can easily connect to is the one relating to the skirt that they wear. Sometimes I see some that is quite short, but you know, when they are moving, they tend to, because they have the rope, they tend to close it this way. And so for that, I can speak for. But cleavage, boobs, I haven't paid attention. Maybe I'm not.
Well, you're not as experienced as he is. I mean,
yes, certainly. He has
many years
standing at the bar.
Exactly.
So, maybe it's something that he's seen, or perhaps it has been brought to his attention.
Okay. Just open your eyes a bit wider when you go to court so that we can appreciate where the GBA president is
maybe to the, you know, when we go, we sit at the back.
Oh,
and
okay.
you know, so there is the bench, then there's the bar, then we are at the back.
Okay.
And so I actually see their backs. So maybe that explains it. But like you said, I'll pay attention more, and I'm sure later on we'll be able to confirm or deny what is being said. But I don't know how the lawyers feel about this. I mean, I saw a lot of comments on social media coming from women interest groups, mostly those, the feminists. Some of them were complaining about the comments. They think they are in very bad taste. They don't think that the GBA president should be talking about such things.
I was actually a bit surprised because I know how conservative this area of, this kind of profession is. And I was thinking that even in the professional school, it is regulated. The courts where you see the judge sitting there where they can tell you what they wanted to do, they can put you in your right position. So I was a bit surprised. That's why I wanted to ask you. Since you go to court, me, I don't go to court. So now that we've cleared that, let's come to today's papers. The Ghanaian Times, the Daily Graphic, the Vanguard, Business Finder. This is the Daily Searchlight, the Business and Financial Times. I see Joseph with the Daily Guide, the Daily Dispatch, the usual suspects. So let's start with you, Joe.
The front page has Nana building 98 bungalows for judges. That's a photograph of some justices of the High Court who have been sworn in. There's already some controversy surrounding one of the judges. We are told he was the MPP's parliamentary candidate in the 2016 election for a constituency in the Volta region, and I've already seen some posts by some members of the NDC
Okay.
raising issues about that. I'm sure when we do the details later, we can pull that up. Mali coup leaders meet Rawlings, also on the front page. I saw someone post this photograph and add that the coup leaders are having a meeting. I wasn't too sure whether he was referring to just the Malians or our own Papa J.
Yeah, but that won't be fair, right? That won't be fair.
Policeman grabbed for robbery, also on the front page. NDC punches NPP in Ashanti. Another story you can find in the Daily Guide. The back page has a story about Bill. It appears lots of clubs are interested in him. And club ban from noise making also on the back page of the Daily Guide. We can do the Dispatch, then I'll end with the Statesman. The Daily Dispatch says government to take a decision next month on legalization of Okada business. I heard the vice president yesterday say that they don't intend to legalize it. And Mali's military leaders call on Rawlings. This is the photograph that I was talking about on the front page of the Daily Dispatch. It has Papa J in the middle, flanked by 2 soldiers from Mali.
4.
Okay, so 2 here, 2 here.
Yes.
Making 4. Yeah.
But this is also very significant. I didn't quite like the comment that you said somebody made.
Yeah, I said the coup makers are meeting.
We know that there's, the situation in Mali is quite fluid.
No, these are all coup makers.
But we know the reason they came to Ghana, and we know the reason the former president's intervention will also be crucial, because if he can speak their language and get them to, understand things and be open to the suggestions that are coming up, especially with the directive that ECOWAS is given, that will help a lot. In
fact, when I saw, when I read that the coup guys were coming into the country, I actually thought that the government or the ECOWAS, for that matter, would have involved him because he's someone who, has undertaken a coup before. One, he has handed over to a civilian government before. He has again done a coup and again handed over to a constitutional system in which he actually won the election. And so he's someone who has seen all phases of things. And so he will be able to speak to them and explain to them why this should be the path that they should all go. The military should stay in the barracks, like it's always been the message. And so
Absolutely.
I guess that is the message he put across to them.
Yes, and that's why I thought this meeting was really, really important. Because I guess a soldier can speak to a soldier in a way that you and I cannot, because we're just civilians.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. At the back page of the Dispatch has that story about the legalization of Okada. Government to take a decision next month. And government releases 3.5 billion cedis to settle outstanding claims of depositors of collapsed financial institutions, also on the back page. The last one for me will be the Daily Statesman. It has a big boost for judiciary as government builds 98 new courts and bungalows for judges. And 100% cash payment to depositors of collapsed entities starts, also on the front page. And Ewuku, the youth of Ghana can't trust Mahama. That is coming from the MPP Sami Ewuku. The back page has that Gareth Bale story. And people thought I got to Marseille and Black Stars because of my dad. It's coming from Crystal Palace striker Jordan Ayew. Yeah,
what if it was his dad?
At least over the period, he has proved that he is a great player.
Exactly.
Fantastic goal scorer.
But, we all need somebody to introduce us to someone.
Yeah.
So if that's what the father did.
I was in church, the pastor said, no one goes through the father unless through the son. And so.
Thank you.
After you go through the father, through the son, you have to justify that opportunity that you've been given. And that's what he did in this case.
Yeah. Do you know the number of people who are waiting to get somebody to just see them and introduce them to someone, or show them the way? How is that a bad person if it's your father? What's the role of a father, by the way, or a mother? All this hard work, all this wahala, is to make it easier for our children. If that's not your focus, then you have to check yourself again. Yeah. All right, let's do the Ghanaian Times. Front page of the Ghanaian Times, 25,000 MCMEs to receive financial support under COVID-19 Recovery Resilience Program. Training of professional dispatch riders better than legalizing Okada. So this debate, it didn't just stay in the NDC's manifesto, and it didn't just get a few people to talk. It's actually gone further than that, and we're discussing this like 1 week after the manifesto launch and all. Well, even after, weeks after they made that disclosure. Law against domestic workers abuse passed. I did mention this, and I promised to share a bit with you. So this is the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations in collaboration with Parliament of Ghana, passing the Labour Domestic Workers Regulations 2020. Okay, what am I saying? I'm just reading what the paper is written, but essentially Parliament has passed the law. It has nothing to do with the ministry. Well, to establish a governance framework for the regulation of domestic work and ensure full labor protection for domestic workers. The new regulation requires the employer and the domestic worker to enter into a written contract of employment, which will stipulate the conditions of service and related matters. This was disclosed by the Minister of Employment, Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafo-Iwa, yesterday when he took his turn at the periodic Meets the Press series. And then there's a source quoting that in 2015, according to the Labour Force report, 1,944 domestic workers that sustained injuries in the course of their employment, none received compensation from their employers for injuries suffered at the workplace. Okay, so it goes on. You can continue to read, but I guess this is really good where you have a written contract with a domestic worker where there are injuries recorded, you have to duly compensate. I think sometimes it's not even sometimes, I guess most often, a lot of us are very mean, like what you won't do to your own child, you do to another person simply because they're helping you in your home. And they are so crucial. Like some of us can't live if we didn't have extra supports. And unfortunately, we don't look after them as people who contribute greatly to our lives. So this law you have to take a look at. We will be discussing this matter later on in the course of our show, so we can highlight and tell you exactly what the law is and how domestic workers stand to benefit. Ghana's cocoa risk EU market ban over forest reserves, destruction and galamsey. That's the banner headline, actually. And then the story about the 16 High Court judges in the center spread of the Times as part of measures to address the infrastructure and accommodation challenges of the judiciary. The government is constructing 98 courts and bungalows across the country for judges. President Akufo-Addo has said at the swearing-in of 16 High Court judges at the Jubilee House in Accra yesterday. President Akufo-Addo said the court and accommodation projects were being constructed in all 16 regions of the country. We will come back with that issue with one of these judges that Joseph hinted. And then we will try and see if we can go through the qualification for being a High Court judge and if the reason being raised is justifiable, maybe. On the back page of the Times, $321 million pharmaceutical pack for Dawa. 3-tier Tardy interchange began as the construction works have begun, according to the paper, on a 3-tier PTC interchange project at the Kwame Nkrumah roundabout in Takoradi, the Western region. There's a Kwame Nkrumah roundabout in Takoradi? Has it always been Kwame Nkrumah roundabout?
I don't know about it.
I lived in Takoradi for a number of years. Where is that roundabout? I can call in Natalia for me. I lived in Takoradi for what, 3 years or 4 years? Never heard about Kwame Nkrumah roundabout. I want to ask Ina. The Daily Graphic newspaper front page, cocoa farmers to earn 21% more for produce. And then on the Okada debate, government to provide vehicle owning option, according to Dr. Baumia. You made reference to this, Joseph Akable. Yes. I guess the other angle, and this was also in our AM News a while ago, is the fact that he's recommending that they buy vehicles. And I was thinking, what the motorbike does is not the same as what the vehicle can do. I mean, there's a reason people prefer to use the motorbikes. There's a reason, you know, if you're dispatching something, for instance, it's easier for you to do with a motorbike because they don't have to sit in traffic like the regular vehicles would do. So I'm not sure if that's a fair option.
Is the traffic challenges that we are facing.
Yeah. So because I don't know if it's a convenient move, actually, to say that if you can afford a vehicle, then buy the vehicle and drop the motorbike. I'm not sure. those who patronize the motorbikes will continue to. After all, there are still options and ways to get around, but they still opt for that. Yeah. But the other issue is the emphatic statement with the NPP not going the legalizing or regulating it that way. So it's actually very different from what the NDC had said, which is very clear. Now we don't have similar policies, if you like. But what is contradictory is what the transport minister himself had said before, which was that they were still consulting. Was underway, they were still consulting. But I guess once the vice president has spoken, what the minister said cannot be, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But I saw Kwame Nkrumah circle Takoradi, and I thought, let's get our correspondent, Natalia Kwanzaa, to ask, because I've lived in Takoradi for a number of years. I don't know Kwame Nkrumah circle. Ina, good morning.
Good morning, Mama V.
Ina, we called this morning just to be sure where the Kwame Nkrumah runabout in Takoradi is. Can you help?
Yes, Mama V. So that is what most people in Takoradi call Ajib. But the real name is supposed to be Kwame Nkrumah Runabout.
Okay, so where, again, because you say Ajib, I know, but let people understand where that is.
Okay, so if you are coming from Accra, entering Takoradi, before you get to the Central Business District, this is a famous runabout. Just about, let's say, 2 minutes walk from the Takoradi Jubilee Park. That is where we have the Ajib there. And also now we have the Takoradi Mall closer to where Ajib is. So it is the first roundabout you see when you are coming from Accra or you are coming from the Western North region.
Okay, so this is from Paipano straight, that runabout you meet before.
Sure.
Okay, all right. Natalia Kwanzaa, thank you very much. That's our Western region correspondent helping us locate Kwame Nkrumah runabout. You see, on paper, they've got the real names, and then we name the places.
Yeah, we call them we are comfortable with them.
All right, okay, so let's go through the center spread, the Daily Graphic newspaper. Here we go. Government constructs more courts, bungalows for judges, NBSSI. That's the a COVID-19 Recovery and Resilience Program for micro, small, and medium enterprises led by the National Board for Small-Scale Industries in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation has been launched. Details of that Committee on Employment Insurance Scheme setup. Also in the center spread on the back page, work begins on destroyed portions of Bolgatanga Boku Highway. 2 horrific accidents claimed 24 lives in 2 days. 2 days. 24 lives. 24 lives and the many other lives that depended on these 24. We haven't even counted. And there are still a number of them who are battling right now. All right, let's do the Business Finder. Front page of the Business Finder says 90 million Ghana cedis for 25,000 businesses to cushion micro, small, and medium enterprises. On COVID-19, economy contracts 3.2% in second quarter, first in 37 years. COVID was definitely going to have a huge impact. I don't know why some people think that we were not going to be affected. Because the news came with some kind of surprise, like other economies elsewhere, more resilient economies, they've been hit really hard. There was no way we were going to escape this.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And the best you can do is to try and minimize its impact and try and find a way around it and minimize importation and find local solutions. And I guess that is what government has been trying to do. And we just hope that we're able to recover quickly.
Yeah. Joseph, let's talk about the judge before we go to my online.
Okay, so the NDC's deputy youth organizer actually posted that among the newly appointed High Court judges is Ernest Yao Geu, who as recent as 2016 was the MPP parliamentary candidate for Ho Central. And he goes on to say that the president is bastardizing our institutions with unbridled partisanship. But he also attaches the campaign poster for this particular justices that he claims contested in the 2016 election. But in terms of the requirements that you were talking about, if you go to Article 139 downwards that deals with the High Court composition and qualification. It makes the point that the qualification has to do with high moral character, proven integrity, and at least 10 years standing as a lawyer. And so, I mean, I don't know under which of these you put the partisanship. Also, we know that in times past, individuals who belong to political parties have made it onto the bench, including as high as the Supreme Court. If you recall, Justice Gabriel Poman, he's still on the Supreme Court. He was a General Secretary of the PNC, but he made it onto the Supreme Court as a judge. And so that also brings it in. It appears that if you are not appointing, you know how the politicians go about their things. But, I mean, the question we should be asking ourselves is, the High Court, like the President in his speech said yesterday, is the court where a bulk of disputes are resolved. And so the question we should be asking ourselves is, will people be comfortable assuming there is an election dispute and it goes to the High Court, or there is a matter involving the EC or involving two different political parties and it goes to the High Court? Will you be comfortable appearing before such a judge? And that is the ultimate question that we need to ask. And so even though the requirements may not fall within, it's about whether people will be comfortable with that, and that is what the conversation should be around.
I appreciate this point. I think is really crucial. Let's all think about it. But you were also in court yesterday, the issue with the law professor and the fact that 4 persons have been put behind bars. Well, they've actually been taken to the prison, right? They're on remand.
They've been remanded into prison custody. And I mean, just for the records, the facts of the case doesn't link them to the crime. Normally, the facts of the case explains why Mama V has been arrested. The facts that were read in court had nothing to do with that. It only makes the point that these are individuals who were domestic workers of the man. On Saturday, he was found dead. They were subsequently picked up. Investigations are ongoing. And so, very early days yet. And the question that we keep asking is that within 48 hours, should our police force not get to the level where determination is made as to whether these are individuals we should be holding or not? Must we always go and have them kept? Because it can happen to anyone. All what has to happen is you live in a house with someone and the person dies, you are the first suspect, and once they pick you up, within 48 hours, they can't make that determination. They charge you with murder if you are not fortunate. For some of them, their faces are already in the papers, unfortunately.
Yes, and they take you to a court at a time like this, and then the court will say, well, we don't have the power to let you go. So where do you make that appeal and let go? But yesterday we talked about the fact that it's easy for them to hold you and investigate. Why not finish investigations and then you can actually arrest people who are truly connected to the crime?
If you are taking crime scene management serious and all those issues seriously, I mean, within 48 hours, you should be able to quickly rule out, I mean, these individuals, or say that, okay, I suspect you've done something, so that once you go to the court, there should be something substantial, not facts of the case that simply recounts that this person works here and someone has died in the house, and so because of that, we are taking it to court. I think it's somewhere, and it will be remanded till September 30th.
Yes.
We've seen it happen many times, even with the Major Mahama death. They arrested as many as 66 people, but eventually when it got to trial, just 14. Some of them were in court for at least 2 months. And there's nothing against them.
Absolutely. Well, we'll leave you so that you can be thinking, grab the newspapers if you can from the newsstands. Go to myjoyonline.com. We've got plenty of stories there as well. We have a Healthy Thursday conversation on the childhood cancers. We're looking at how much our National Health Insurance Scheme covers this area as well. And we will tell you, listen, true stories, parents and children who are suffering simply because they can't raise sometimes 2,500 for them to be cured. And our insurance scheme also barely covers this. So we will be sharing that human interest story with you here on the AM Show. Of course, we've got the Voters' Voice, but we have to bring you sports. Joseph Akable is back tomorrow with us on The Review. Stay with the AM Show.